Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are back with a weekly podcast, Tru Heel Heat 133. On this edition of Tru Heel Heat, we will be discussing the latest wrestling news, including a fantastic AEW Dynamite Road Rager episode featuring the debut of Aleister Black, now known as Malakai Black, and the real reason behind why he was able to make a shocking appearance on the first AEW event back on the road. We're also going to review NXT Great American Bash with an outstanding Cole versus O'Reilly 2. Also recap of WWE Raw with more build-up towards Money in the Bank, as well as record low ratings for the 28-year-old show. Also, we got Stephanie McMahon with a crisis meeting with TV networks about WWE's ratings.
Yes!
Zelina Vega makes her return to WWE, and each of the hosts will give their top 5 matches of 2021 of the half year so far, plus much, much more. I am back. Welcome back. The princess of all the Tru Heels, the beautiful, the lovely Miss Krssi Love.
Hi guys. Hello. Missed you so much last week. I'm so happy to be back. Let's just dive in and get right into it.
As always great to see you, Miss Krssi Love, back with us. And of course, we have to also welcome back the resident Tru Heel alcoholic himself, Top Guy JJ.
Oh, let's fucking go. Yes. You know what? I will say, I actually watched the entire episode of 132 with you and Josh.
Yes, me
Y'all
too.
did a fucking standout job. Y'all did a really awesome job covering, and I missed y'all. It was a damn good episode. A lot of great insights. You put Josh to the test with his knowledge there. I was catching it, and he was kind of getting stumped with a couple of questions, but he stood up. He did his thing, man. Yeah, that was a fantastic job last week. But let's go. What a week we got. What a week.
Thank you. Appreciate your guys' kind words. We appreciate the true Josh joining us last week on Tru Heel Heat 132. Shouts out to him. Thank him very much for joining us. Also, got to shout out our little sneak preview that all of you guys seem to have enjoyed of my interview with Alberto El Patron. That interview in full will be released on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, probably following this podcast, either on Monday or Tuesday of next week. And this edition of Tru Heel Heat is brought to you by our friends over at Powered 4 TV. Of course, as always, we got to promote Powered 4 TV, the leading streaming site for independent wrestling from the past, present, and future, especially in the UK. Of course, you can get 50% off your first month of Power 4 TV by using the promo code SP3. Of course. And we start off this Tru Heel Heat by telling you, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, drop us a like, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified so you always get notified whenever we have new content right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. If you're listening to us on all your favorite podcast platforms, make us your favorite. Give us a review so we can shout you out on the next episode of Tru Heel Heat, which we always start off with our Tru Heel roll call. This is where we shout out all our supporters on social media, on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, as well as everything else in between. Our top 3 conversation starters on the Tru Heels group page. Coming in at number 3 is the New Japan aficionado himself, James Wims. Coming in at number 2 is Mr. Powered 4 TV himself, John Scott. And of course, coming in at number 1 once again is the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson.
Nick just,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
guys, okay.
All right. A couple more True Heels for us to shout out. We got Ted Williams, Vert Haas, Joel Morals, Matthew Flores, and Matt the Misfit. Our YouTube subscriber highlight. We got Jeffrey K commenting on Fusion of Honor number 11. He says ROH Best in the World is going to be a fantastic event for people who haven't seen ROH in a while. They definitely need to see Survival of the Fittest, and I'm convinced they will be so invested that they will all want to order Best in the World. It was that damn good. Of course, before we get to our top 5 individual matches of 2021 so far, we're gonna do a quick preview for Best in the World, as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling Summer Struggle, which both of those shows happen this weekend. So we love to, preview the matches and the big cards coming up. So we're going to show love to ROH on this edition of Tru Heel Heat. And of course, also we have Kwame Shafir commenting on Tru Heel Heat 132. He says, my Mount Rushmore of NXT failed call-ups, he says, is Keith Lee, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bray Wyatt, and Eva Marie. I'm convinced about 3 or 4.
On board with him until he said Eva Marie.
Right.
Right. On board until he said Eva Marie, because Eva Marie sucked in both places.
Correct. She still sucks.
I'm fully on board with the first 3. Completely agree.
Still, yeah.
Even though Bray Wyatt's won some championships, I mean, we know what's happened to him.
Correct.
Exactly. He didn't get exactly the push, or he wasn't exactly the character that they build up in NXT. And speaking of which, another individual who had a similar plight from NXT to the main roster is who we're going to be talking about with our top story this week on Tru Heel Heat, because it was the former NXT champion Aleister Black, aka Tommy End. He transformed into Malakai Black in his AEW debut, and we're going to talk about the bizarre reason behind his shocking appearance on this week's AEW Dynamite Road Rager, their first event back on the road live from Miami, Florida. Our very own drunk guy JJ was there live. The most shocking moment of the night had to be the debut of the former Aleister Black, Tommy End, appearing and hitting the Black Mass first on Arn Anderson and then on Cody Rhodes. This followed a special vignette that he posted on his social media revealing his new persona, Malakai Black. The Miami crowd gave him a roaring reaction, and many fans were surprised since it had only been 35 days since his release from WWE on June 2nd. Me, myself, kind of turned down. I got to shout out Saints Burner on Twitter. He said that, I think it's going to be Aleister Black debuting on AEW. I was like, no, he's in his 90 days. And I had to tell him, I stand corrected. I was stand corrected on this night. The standard practice in WWE is that talents under NXT contracts have a 30-day non-compete clause, while those on the main roster deals have 90-day non-compete clause. According to a report from PW Insider, WWE actually forgot to update the 30-day clause to a 90-day.
Somebody's getting fired
in Aleister Black's contract when he
was.
Oh
my God! You know what? That serves them right. Good for them. Good for them. They deserve such fuckery. Good job. Whoever did that.
You son of a bitch! Why you fucked that up? You're fired.
As has been noted often as of late with all the releases WWE has been making, NXT talent is generally under a 30-day non-compete clause, by Raw and SmackDown talent generally have a 90-day non-compete. According to PW Insider, when Black was moved to the main roster, the company failed to update his contract to a 90-day non-compete. It is not clear.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yo, the laziness is real, bro.
It is not clear whether other talent had similar clerical issues occur, but if so, it would obviously have serious implications for how quickly they can debut for other companies like AEW, Impact Wrestling, and the like. However, Dave Meltzer reported on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio that Black actually had an opt-out clause in his contract, which allowed him to leave after 30 days if he chose. It's unknown why he had that clause or if other talents do, but according to the report, he could have stayed for the entire 90 days and instead he went elsewhere. Around the time that the clause was coming up was when reports circulated that WWE wanted him back, which we talked about on the previous edition of Tru Heel Heat. This situation begs the question as to whether there's anyone else non-compete clause that WWE forgot to update, but there's no one that knows of that as of yet. So, Krssi Love, let's start with you. What was your thoughts first on the debut of Malakai Black on AEW Dynamite Road Rager?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The whole lights going out throughout the night. It did it in Cody's first match. The lights had went off, and they're like when he had the strap match. So it was like a build up to what was going to happen. And I found it weird when Tony was going to speak to Arn, and I was like, why is he speaking to him like now? You should have spoke to him earlier. But whatever. So then when I seen him standing there, I thought he looked amazing. Looked like he's been hitting the gym extra harder since he's been unemployed. And I just love the whole gimmick of the story of the eye and the contact. I think all of it all plays into it very, very well. I think it was a great debut. They messed up the names a little bit during the commentary, but we won't go into that. But other than that, I think AEW did a very, very well with this one.
I don't think they messed up the name. I think that they did it in a way where Excalibur, I kind of explained this on a couple of shows this week, Wrestling Daily as well as Powered 4 TV. The AEW commentary team is your family at a cookout. You got that one bitter uncle that doesn't really know what's going on, doesn't really like what you and your friends are doing. That's JR. You got your one cool uncle who wants to be down, who wants to learn new terminology from you and your friends. That's Tony Schiavone. And then you got your one friend or your one cousin who knows what's going on, who's hip to what's going on, knows everything, and that's Excalibur. And in this situation, Excalibur represented the fans that saw the vignette that was on Malakai Black's social media, and he saw the explanation. He was the one that said, he was like, that's Tommy Yen, but that's not him. This is a new variation. This is Malakai Black. So he's the one that's informed and speaking for the fans that, were up to date and saw the vignette. It was very well done. It reminded me of the Jon Moxley vignette that he did after leaving WWE, but it was more in like a dark kind of spooky terms with him getting spoken to by doctors and him talking about the doctor telling him there's nothing wrong with your eye. And he was like, oh, have you been fighting with Matthew again? And Malakai actually referred to, because Buddy Murphy said he liked the vignette, and he was like, thank you, Matthew. So Matthew is talking about Buddy Murphy, since Buddy Murphy was the one that got his eye out in WWE. So it might be a whole big story that connects the two if they both are coming to AEW. But I thought it was a very well done vignette, and I thought that Excalibur was great in his reaction. JR is JR, so he sounded bored and upset about it.
He sounded lost and didn't understand like what was happening. Like, who's this person showing up at? Who brought this person to the cookout? Did they make extra food? Like, why are you here? Like, things like that. So yes, that's exactly what JR did sound like.
Exactly. He was like, my burger is not cooked well done. It's too raw. So that's JR, the bitter uncle.
But overall, I do think it was done perfect.
What was your thoughts on the debut, Top Guy JJ? And are you surprised that WWE committed such a blunder as to not put the 90-day non-complete in Black's contract?
You know what? I actually am surprised that they would fuck up a contract. I mean, if they're going to do anything right, at least it would be a contract. Yep. But it's just a new form of laziness. Like, they've been lazy with protocols. They've been lazy with their booking. They've been lazy with their writing. They've been lazy with their production. They've been lazy with getting people back on track. They've been lazy with getting us to enjoy their product, which is you. And why I gave such a round of applause for that rating, because the people are acting. I love it. But as far as Malakai Black, AEW knocked it out of the motherfucking park. And I love the fact that there's a component in there where I feel like that Excalibur is probably the only one that was informed that this was happening, and then just left JR and Tony Schiavone as the two fans that's being commentators, and JR sounded annoyed because there's this big pop for someone that he don't know. Yeah. So it's like there's this rage about somebody that, oh my god, like, why don't I know who the hell he is? Like, whoever he's at, I don't know who he is. It's annoying that you're involved with something so big and you have no idea how to distribute it verbally. So he was caught in his own blunder. So Excalibur picked up the ball and slammed it home for us. Anybody that was live obviously didn't hear any of that, which that fuck is finito, fucking perfect. And the fact that this happened during the Cody match, and then the fact that this happened to him hitting the Black Mass on Cody, like it's just, they finally seem to have found this major potential storyline that can get Cody heavily involved again for something that's meaningful. They're done with all of this factory bullshit, all of this nonsensical nonsense that Cody is having to overhype that no one cares about. This here is going to be some motherfucking substance. And even Brandy took it to Twitter, to Instagram, and was like, I never had a problem with this guy until tonight.
I hope he takes all that red, white, and blue crap and throw it in the trash, son.
Like that is one of those. That is one of those. I felt. I marked the fuck out for it, and then secondly, it felt like, again, this terminology came about a year and a half ago. A paradigm shift. This felt like something major just happened in the landscape of wrestling. And for AEW to nail it in that fashion, and for him to carry the dedication of what happened to him in the WWE and bring it to AEW is fucking legendary. It's fucking legendary, and you already know the juices is gonna be flowing. Like, it's gonna be a thing of beauty to see how they, like, this was. I'm just kind of this was one of the best Dynamites I've seen. Period. And this show is something that if I wanted to put somebody onto watching a this is the show I'm having to watch. This show had something for everybody.
Everything.
They knocked this shit out of the park. And if they don't do 1 million, I'm pretty sure those reviews and those rewatches are definitely going to highly eclipse it.
I think that it always depends on what happens the week before. So I think it should be up from the 883,000 viewers that they did last week when the ratings come out. But I don't think it's going to hit 1 million. But I'm pretty sure after the reviews and the reception to the Road Rager episode, Fyter Fest week night 1 should get big ratings next week. But to finish off, to put a cap on this top news story, Krssi Love, who is the one person you most want to see Malakai Black face in AEW?
Orange Cassidy.
Wow. I did not expect that answer. I
knew you was going to ask me this when I was watching it yesterday. And when I seen Orange Cat, once he debuted and I seen Orange come out, I was like, that's going to be an impeccable match. That right there, I can see it. Sick.
What about you, Top Guy JJ?
Ooh, I mean, I'm gonna go hella obvious here. Just give me the shit show. Just give me Malakai Black and Darby Allin. Just give me the shit. Just give me the shits, bro. Like that's the obvious one. I'm going obvious as hell. Give me that one right there, cause Fire. That shit is gonna be the fucking sparks and set the flame.
That is two very, very good ones. For me, I'm going to say run it back to Malakai Black's debut in WWE and do it right this time. Give us Malakai Black versus the Bastard Pack. That's what I want to see. And I think that would be a fire matchup right there. But
yeah.
In a recent stream on his wife's Twitch account, Malakai Black revealed details involving his AEW debut. In the stream, he discussed the plans and how it was kept under wraps. He talked about how the idea for the multiple blackouts during the night was his idea to make his appearance a surprise. He said that less than 5 or 6 people within AEW knew about the debut, and he gave them credit for keeping it under wraps in regards to how his appearance was kept as a huge surprise. He says when he found out that his contract was a little bit different, he came up with the idea for the character movie, and the company liked that, and he felt very satisfied and fulfilled in the company, realizing his creative mind and putting his plan into place for a shocking debut on AEW Dynamite. He also credited Tony Khan and said that he's a great dude and a real wrestling fan that really loves his company. It seems that Malakai Black was very pleased with his debut in AEW, and as you've seen, us at Tru Heel Heat were also satisfied with the way he debuted for All Elite Wrestling. We will keep you updated on more details involving Malakai Black as he has officially signed with AEW. The announcement was made on All Elite Wrestling's Twitch page, and it should bring huge plans for the former WWE superstar.
there is a lot to talk about as far as AEW Dynamite Road Rager, so that moves us on to what we missed. And of course, we got to start off with that Road Rager episode. For the powers of editing, here is the rating for AEW Dynamite Road Rager. You see it on the screen. Thank you, producer. Besides Malakai Black's shocking debut, the Young Bucks defeated Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo in a crazy street fight to retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships in the main event. There was also, if Malakai Black wasn't your favorite thing on the show, if the main event wasn't your favorite thing on the show, maybe you're like me. And your favorite part of this show was the Red Hot segment where AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and Don Callis cut a promo about there being no challengers for his title, which of course the fans responded with chanting "Cowboy shit, cowboy shit, cowboy shit," which the Dark Order interrupted with Evil Uno bringing up that they were ignoring the fans. Kenny Omega laying in the most obvious joke in the world. What's the capital of Singapore? Bangkok. And the Elite then attacked the Dark Order until Hangman Page made the save, and we finally got the face-to-face showdown between Page and Omega, and that molting hot arena in Miami went ablaze in anticipation of what should be the main event for All Out. We also had a great promo segment where MJF set up the Labors of Jericho with matches against the Pinnacle to get a final match against MJF, with Jericho laying out Friedman with the Judas Effect after he punched out a fan who jumped over the guardrail. We also got another great promo by someone out of the blue. Dan Lambert of American Top Team was in attendance with Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes and cut a Jim Cornette-esque promo about how AEW and the new era of wrestling is nothing compared to the 80s and the 90s until Lance Archer laid him out with the blackout in what I called AEW's version of Kane and Pete Rose. We had Cody Rhodes beat QT Marshall in a Miami strap match to start off the night. I do want to, credit you guys for bringing up the little blackout, because a lot of people thought that it was like because of the storm in Miami at first, and it wasn't a tease for Malakai Black's debut, but it in fact was. Andrade El Idolo defeated Matt Sydal in his debut. So, Top Guy JJ, what was your favorite part besides Malakai Black's debut on this episode of AEW Dynamite Road Rager?
Oof. Wow, this was a loaded show.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded. My funniest moment was Nick Jackson hitting the 450 on the ref. I mean, he's such a dick. I mean, like,
Really,
I mean, that match just had shit all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite moment, honestly, was Andre El Idolo's debut. Man,
Andrade?
You mean
Andrade. Sorry. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck.
I was like Andre 3000 El
I don't know
Helio.
what the fuck I just said. I don't know what I just said. Excuse my French. It's Andrade El Idolo. Sorry. Excuse my French. But him, that, like, oh my god. I never realized how much I missed that fucking moonsault off the top ropes landing to the ground moonsault. It's like one of my favorite fucking moves in all of wrestling. That shit is just like the smoothest thing. You think you dodged it? No, the fuck you did. Like, epic shit, man. I mean, that show was just, it had so many elements to it, man. I was even giving love to the Cody match, to the Cody and QT Marshall match was actually really good. I don't think there was a thing on AEW I did not like this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I can point out to, but I mean, as a fan, they delivered for their first road show. Like, they just kind of just had this show planned out. Like, this is what we're going to give fans. Like,
we're gonna bring all the goodies. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh god, like, everything was just. I absolutely love this entire show from top to bottom. The Hangman shit, yes, I would probably say also the Hangman has to be that Hangman coming out with that face off with Kenny Omega. With that, it's like, yo, if Kenny does not lose his strap to this man, Kenny ain't losing his belt for the rest of the year. like this is. I mean, come on, you've been building this for 2 years. For 2 years, brother. For 2 years. Come on, man. Slow burn, done to perfection, but will fail if this does not finish off with Hangman just basically claiming what he's been chasing since the fucking inception of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said it last week, I will say it again. It is time to pull the trigger. It's just time. I know there's certain amount of fans that don't want Omega to lose the title right now, but there's also a certain amount of fans that think it's the right time for Hangman to win the title. That's the perfect time to do a title change. You don't want to have Omega hold the title too long to where it gets old. You want it to have it to a point that there are some fans that want him to keep it. So that's why I love this. And I love the little callback to Revolution with Hangman freezing before doing the buckshot lariat on Omega. Just great stuff. What was your favorite part of AEW Dynamite Road Rager, Krssi Love?
I'm like JJ. The whole show was packed from beginning to end. I think they sat in their room as they were collaborating and putting the show together and was like, what can we do to make this first on the road show great? And I think
saying that they actually care. Care. Oh my god, they care.
Oh, they care.
Yes, they actually do care what they want to put on and what they care about their product. I believe they do. And I think that they delivered. I mean, hats off to them. Put a pat on the back because everyone did excellent. But if I have to pick something, I think the Britt Baker promo was unbelievable. I loved it. It was funny, but yet delivered and was awesome.
And it pissed off a whole bunch of WWE fans with her Saudi Arabia line.
And they're so mad it wasn't even true. Like, you, that's the whole point of a mark, you know. It's just, it makes everything just
fanboys, man.
It just makes it even better. I love it.
And just shout out to where the women have come from in AEW, since they had multiple segments on the show and they did not hold it down at all. They did not drag it down in any way, shape, or form. They literally kept the show on its meteoric form. Like, it did not alter at all when the women joined the program.
Yep.
I loved Chris Statlander in that mixed tag match. That Area
Mhm.
451
Yes.
splash. I
Mhm.
was like, wow, I didn't know she had that in her. That was great. And they really did most of that mixed tag match with
Yep.
Chris Statlander and Orange
And
Cassidy beating the Blade and the Bunny. So good stuff all around. I do agree with you. AEW Dynamite Road Rager. If you guys want a full review of that show, of course, you can watch the fellas AE Recap / AE Ramble, where Jimmy Macaram, Marcus Cash, and myself will break down AEW Dynamite Road Rager. But we got to move on to NXT Great American Bash. AEW wasn't the only show with a special edition this week, as NXT brought back the Great American Bash name for another special episode that delivered. It actually had the rating go up slightly this week, 654,000 viewers. Adam Cole defeated Kyle O'Reilly in an outstanding main event to the show. Adam Cole even up the series of matches after Kyle O'Reilly beat him at Stand and Deliver to 1-1. We also had a fantastic opener as MSK beat Thatcher and Ciampa to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark defeated The Way of Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell to win the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships after the surprise return of Tegan Nox, revealing herself to be behind the Battery vignettes. LA Knight beat Cameron Grimes to successfully defend the $1 Million Championship to make Grimes his own personal butler. We also had a hip-hop performance from Hit Row with their NXT North American Championship Cypher celebration. William Regal set up Karrion Kross versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship with Samoa Joe as a special guest referee for next week's edition of NXT. Krssi Love, what stood out the most for you on the Great American Bash this week?
I was shocked that they changed the titles for the tag team. It's like the tag team for the women can't stay on girls much more than like a week or two, maybe a month, if that. Count it, you'll see. But I was very surprised at that. Good match. Happy Dexter and Indy are gonna be back together. You know how I feel about Dexter.
Your favorite relationship?
Yes,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
But the Kyle and the Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, phenomenal, so good. I thought this show was great. They hit it out the park. Wasn't as good as AEW, but still good.
So I got to talk about the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships because I got a hot take. This might be the most devalued, unprestigious titles in all of the WWE. Yes, I am including the 24/7 title because at least the 24/7 title gives them an opportunity to cross over to NCAA Game Day and ESPN with sportscasters winning it. They've had Bad Bunny win it and show it off at on SNL when he was the musical performance. These NXT Women's Tag Team titles are so fucking unnecessary. It's so fucking unnecessary. My good brother, Jeremy Lambert of Fightful, who will be on next week's Tru Heel Heat 134 when we go live ahead of Money in the Bank. He had a great tweet where he broke down the stats for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles.
Please read.
These belts came into existence in the beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 5 title matches for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. In 4 months, there have been 4 different title reigns. There have only been 2 successful title defenses, both by Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. The longest reigning champions were Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, who held the titles for 64 days and had 0 successful title defenses. So once again, that's 5 title matches, 3 title changes in a matter of 4 months. Why did they come up with these unnecessary freaking titles? And this week, they had a good match, Shirai and Stark versus The Way. But the finish and the title change meant nothing.
Right.
They focused more on Tegan Nox returning. So
That's why I said that was the most shocking, but I mean, yet it wasn't the best part. I was like, why are you giving these girls? And then they just put random girls together. Just random. Like, oh, this is where we go to the bingo. Back to what I've been saying forever with WWE. 5-2, Io Shirai. We're gonna put her up with B12. Like, what is I don't understand. I really don't get it. It's like you said, it's the most meaningful. Yes, it's girls. And we're supposed to have like a tag team. We're supposed to have it defending, but it's like, again, you've put it. If you got it in March, and it's like girls had it for 2 weeks, and then it's the next one. Dakota Kai and what's her name? Oh God, I can't remember.
Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
An hour? They had it an hour.
Yeah, they had it for an hour, about an hour.
Like,
they lost it in their first defense.
Right, like it's just like it doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. So that we can understand it. Because other than that, your product is not going to make... We're not... It's failing. The product is failing. Because you're just throwing it all together.
I thought the show was really good, but that was my major gripe. Top Guy JJ, what stood out the most for you at the Great American Bash?
I mean, I'm not going to say anything more about that women's tag match, but one comment. That was the most uneventful title change in the history of the WWE. That whole title change meant absolutely nothing.
No, didn't.
Nothing. No, there was no substance to it at all. It just happened. The fans didn't even know the title changed. I don't even think the fans remembered that the titles were on the line.
Right.
It was the most uneventful thing that I've seen.
I thought it was a non-title match. Sorry.
But other than that, the show was really good. The show was like, for some reason, I just could not take my eyes off the screen with the Cypher. I could not. No. I could not stop watching it. I was like, this shit is working.
Like, a couple of I know that, not to interrupt you, but I know our fellas over at NX3, they didn't enjoy it, but I thought this was the most effective musical performance that WWE has ever done.
So to piggyback on that exact comment, if you kind of go back into the performance of that Cypher, once they hit the ring, it took about 2 to 3 minutes, but that crowd got into it. Like at the couple minute mark, because they started to get the vibe of it. That shit was awesome. Like that performance. I'm not sure too much about that little Cypher in the beginning when they was on the ramp. I think that was a little, but once they hit the ring, flames.
Yeah.
Like that shit, like as far as we're talking wrestling performances, we're not talking about hip hop cultural iconic performance, but in the grand scheme of a wrestling ring, that shit was awesome.
I agree.
But as far as the overall show, I mean, my God, I mean, the MSK and Thatcher and Ciampa match was pretty damn awesome. My God, Cole and O'Reilly, like they fucking killed it. Like they crushed it. Like I'm glad that Cole picked up the win to keep this going because, like I said, I don't mind seeing these guys go at it a couple more times because these two just know how to put on a fucking show. Mm-hmm. But other than that, NXT was solid. Like it was solid, and props to them for at least hitting that 600+ grand mark. They were going up against Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Exactly.
So the fact that they did that much with that game playing, that's fucking remarkable for NXT. So props to them for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would argue Cole and O'Reilly 2 was better than Cole and O'Reilly 1.
Oh, for sure.
Don't give them 45 minutes. I think 25 minutes to a half an hour is the perfect length.
I think 30 is the max. For them. 30.
Because they had a nonstop rush from start to finish and that extra 15 minutes of substance at Stand and Deliver, which is a little too much.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we got to move on to what was unquestionably the worst weekly TV show of the week, WWE Raw, with a record low rating, 28 years, and we have come to this. 1.472 million viewers watched this week's WWE Raw. To put that into context, and to make Top Guy JJ even happier, the debut episode of AEW Dynamite in 2019 did 1.409 million viewers. Wow. So we are getting close to It's starting to even up. It's starting to even out. The main event saw the New Day defeat Bobby Lashley and MVP as Kofi Kingston picked up some momentum heading into Money in the Bank. Kofi also cut a fantastic promo. He's been on the money with his promos leading up to Money in the Bank. He just sounds like the best babyface, and definitely on, I would argue, in the main roster, but definitely on Raw. We also had who's been the MVP of Monday Night Raw most weeks, Riddle defeat AJ Styles after a distraction from the Viking Raiders. We started off the night with Miss TV with the Money in the Bank winner, with the Money in the Bank participants, with Riddle being the star of that segment by climbing a ladder and saying, "I'm really high," which popped me.
Yeah, I'm really high. I'm really sad.
We also had John Morrison beat Ricochet via countout after help from The Miz, and another fun matchup between those two. Those two will face next week on Monday Night Raw, and an awful segment. Awful. With Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair both faking leg injuries, and they
oh my god! Oh my.
Wait, can y'all elaborate on that a little bit? How could two people in the same angle fake an injury? I didn't see any of this, so.
Go ahead,
Chris.
Friend, you are so lucky that you didn't have to sit through.
I don't watch Raw. I watch it on Instagram. I watch the 1 minute clips on Instagram. That's how I saw the Riddle segment.
Smart choice.
Okay. That's wonderful. So this is going back to last week after the match that they had was a three.
It was a 6-woman tag.
6-woman tag match. Yeah, and it was Ripley. I don't even remember the participants. I remember Ripley and Charlotte. However, Ripley goes and hits Charlotte from the behind and hits her knee. So now Charlotte is supposed to have an injury, and now she walks out. Well, it comes to accuse her back in the ring from commercial. She's standing there with with the Becky Lynch crutch now. I have to call it that now. Yeah, the crutch. She had a whole
She had a whole crutch. Had a whole crutch.
And she has on heels at that. You have on heels, and you're standing in the middle of the ring, faking, pretending that you are not out. Now, she was about to cut a good promo until Rhea Ripley interrupted her.
Heels and a crutch?
Yes, heels and a crutch.
We don't really have to talk about this that much longer. I mean, I just kind of like, what? All right, I apologize, but
SC, would you like to take it over now?
No, I think we spent enough time on this segment.
You had me fucked up at heels.
Charlotte and Rhea Ripley are really contending for the worst feud of the year, honestly. And this was a feud that a lot of people were anticipated and wanted. Right. So yeah, I think they've been they just don't know who the babyface is. We don't know, or they don't know. I don't know which one is it. It's just very confusing. And I should also mention that they are actively trying to make Drew McIntyre unlikable with these horrible folktale promos.
They're making him Roman Reigns a couple of years ago.
Roman Reigns of 2015. Yeah, they are actively trying to make him that, it seems.
They got McIntyre telling more stories. So he's telling more stories besides the story with the spider.
He's told the story about how his sword was made from the teeth of the Loch Ness Monster.
Knowing that there's no...
Yo, props to y'all for watching this shit. Like, wow.
We do it for you. We do it for everyone watching. And check out Rated Raw Superstars. Those brothers deserve your support for having to watch Monday Night Raw for you guys to break down each and every segment. We just covered the cliff notes.
And do I have it right that Jinder Mahal stole his sword?
Yes, you are correct. You are correct.
He's mad because Drew McIntyre didn't want to go on a bike ride with him.
No, he didn't. He was mad that Drew McIntyre texted him and said he was too busy, but didn't write out TOO. He put the number 2. He literally said this.
So they're even dragging the Maharaja into this garbage.
Yes. Yep. Your modern day Maharaja.
They got rid of the Singh brothers to give him 2 other guys.
Yo, fuck Monday Night Raw, yo. Oh my god. Thank you. And thank you to the people that's not watching because you guys are fucking amazing. Next week I hope to see 1.3.
There you go. WWE SmackDown last week, we had Edge lay out Jimmy Uso with no Roman Reigns on this show after a great promo from the Rated R Superstar to start the show. You also had Kevin Owens defeat Sami Zayn in a tremendous last man standing match to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. You also had Zelina Vega make her return to WWE and was given a spot in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. But then she lost to Liv Morgan in less than 3 minutes. We should bring up apparently WWE officials apologized to Zelina Vega prior to her return to WWE. Zelina Vega also deleted her tweets about she supporting unionization, as well as her tweets that she had been in meetings with the Screen Actors Guild. It was reported by Fightful Select back in May that she had made an appearance at the WWE Performance Center, and they were trying to work on a way to bring her back to the company. But now it is official: Zelina Vega is back in WWE. Krssi Love, you look disappointed by this.
I just want to say, Edge made Jimmy Uso drive that car, and he got pulled over.
We're gonna get to that.
To Zelina Vega, big mistake, sis. I'm so sorry. It's a big mistake. They must have gave you a bankroll of money in front of you to make you come back. It had to be. They had to. And mind you, they let you go because you had a stand and you had something that you were standing for, and people were behind you. And then you go back, and just for you to lose to Liv Morgan, which is, love Liv Morgan as well. These girls, unfortunately, will not win Money in the Bank. Let's just be honest. Let's just tell it what this spades are spades. Those girls will not win. Now, however much money they send to you, get your money, boo-boo. Great. You should have went across to Miami and met your man over there and met Andrade. But it's okay. It'll be another year, maybe 2, where we were like, sis, you should have listened. You should have did something else, because you'll be sitting in catering after a while. But it's okay. That's my thoughts, and that's what I'm going to say.
So, go ahead.
Can I just chime in a little bit here? Just from Zelina's return alone, clearly she made her bed. She's got to lie in it now. This is the decision that she's made. But WWE already showed her in her debut that they don't care about her. In her return, that they don't... Because they are returning to live crowds next week. They couldn't save her return for the live crowd, so she can actually get the pop that she would have definitely gotten. They made her return to the Thunderdome that gets no response with a piped-in crap noise, and then you lose a match within 5 minutes of your return.
Not even 5.
They literally told you, we've paid you, now shut the fuck up. This is her bed. She has to lie in it now.
Welcome back.
Watching across the town where her business partner and her husband are getting the biggest buzzes right now, and she decided to go back to the Thunderdome. That's it, bro.
Fightful also noted that after Vega was released last November, there were several influential people behind the scenes who pushed for her to be brought back with regards to her Twitch account, and if her third-party platforms were negotiated into her new contract. Fightful's source claimed that they are yet to hear of anyone working the third-party platforms into their new contracts yet. It's unknown if the topic was addressed for Vega's contract. However, as noted below, the account is active, and it has mainly been used by Malakai Black, her husband, while Vega's last stream appears to have taken place about 5 months ago. Additionally, multiple sources in WWE stated that they made an effort to maintain contact with Vega after her release through the process of her being re-signed and brought back to WWE. Vega is reportedly listed as a SmackDown heel and on WWE's initial roster sheet, and she's been listed on the roster sheet for almost a month now, and the secret of her return was reportedly out backstage this last week. So, welcome back. I hope that she's getting the bag for this, because, it seems like she made a choice of money over morals.
Yep.
which is okay.
And I
Yeah, at
hope
the
that
end of the
she got a
day,
lot of money.
she's choosing to feed herself her way, and if it's gonna come to
I
being a
hope it's
jobber in the
retirement
first day
that.
back, then hey, so enjoy the bag, boo boo.
Yeah.
All right, so we move on to our news rundown. Of course, we start off with WWE news, and one of the biggest news stories of the week, and very disappointing news for the week. The aforementioned Jimmy Uso was arrested following a DUI on Monday night in Pensacola, Florida. According to police records via TMZ Sports, Uso was pulled over after running a red light and driving 50 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Police said they smelled alcohol on Uso upon questioning him, so they gave him a field sobriety test. Uso failed the test and allegedly admitted to drinking multiple beers before driving, so he was arrested. The 35-year-old Uso, whose real name is Jonathan Fatu, had a blood alcohol content of 0.205, which is more than 2.5 times the legal limit of 0.08. He was released on Tuesday after posting a $500 bail bond. The Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer commented on Jimmy Uso's status following his DUI arrest on Twitter. According to Meltzer, as of Tuesday afternoon, there was no fallout yet from WWE on Jimmy Uso, and WWE had yet to release a statement either on the matter. Meltzer also reported that decisions regarding Uso, quote unquote, whatever they may be, will be instituted soon. WrestlingInc.com then adds that the county clerk of court has yet to listed Uso's court date on file as of Wednesday afternoon. Uso was likely given a court date when being put on bail. The office was reportedly backed up on paperwork due to the 4th of July holiday and the office being closed on Monday. Fightful Select confirmed those reports were accurate after talking to talent, staff, and officials about the matter. There was a unanimous consensus that everyone is concerned about Uso across the board. Most people are afraid for his safety and are even feeling disappointed and or frustrated. Uso is well liked backstage, but the incident was compared to Rob Van Dam's drug incident when he was pulled over in 2006. One top WWE name said his current storyline is the story we've all been waiting for and was disappointed he would risk it. So, Top Guy JJ, what's your thoughts on Jimmy Uso's DUI arrest?
Oh, go to a little back. Has Jimmy Uso done rehab sessions before?
No, Jimmy Uso, this is the fourth time that he has been arrested for
Where? Yes, this is what I'm asking
DUI
because
since 2013. His last arrest was twice in 2019, where WWE released a statement saying that his off-the-screen matters do not affect how he is viewed on the screen or with
which is
WWE.
a 1,000% bullshit lie. Like that there's no way you're gonna put somebody in a public forum that they're gonna get arrested off of their fifth DUI or whatever number it is, 4 or 5, and they're not gonna view him any differently when he actually attends the program. They're gonna look at him as somebody that just is just basically throwing his career away. And that's why I asked about the rehab part, because he needs to take a step at this point. He's 35 years old. He needs to take a step at this point to make a call that he's trying to be better. Like, this is one of the few people. There's not a lot of people the WWE cares about. You're one of the few that they seem to very much care about, and you just seem to keep throwing it away. Like this is not the first, second, or third time that we've been down this route with him. Like, he has been costing Jay so much shine for so long that it's becoming problematic. And it's not only now he's having these issues with lack of sobriety. Now he was injured for an entire year. Then he was dealing with all of these things that's keeping his brother off TV. Like, he's not thinking of the ramifications of what Jey Uso had to go through to make himself relevant again. Because Jimmy has been holding him back for so fucking long, unintentionally, but without care. And unfortunately, this is going to be a thing that's going to cause Jimmy something major. And Jay is going to have to go to bat and try to save this man. And it's like, it's how much are you going to put Jay through? Jay is going to really, and who's supposed to be the older brother here? Jimmy.
Yep.
So why are you supposed to be the senior guy here and you're not? You're pretty much literally on the same line as Roman Reigns. You're like the same age as Roman, basically. Roman is like 36. Like, they're like the same age. So it's not like Roman has all these years of wisdom that he can pass upon him. Like, isn't Jimmy a father?
Yes, he is.
They both are.
So it's baffling to understand, like, what is he missing? Like what are we missing here? Like, you got a career, you got a family, you got people that love and care about you, you got people within the company that is your family. Like, you have all of these things that is helping you, and you for some reason don't understand that you can't consume all of this alcohol when you're driving. It is something very puzzling, and that's why I think at the end of the day he needs to seek help, and he needs to get some rehab, because this is going to take him places where it's going to drag so many other people down, and it's going to be so unfortunate.
Krssi Love, what's your thoughts on Jimmy Uso's DUI arrest, and how do you think WWE is going to respond?
He needs to be fired. Sorry. Sorry. You have to hit people hard. They will not learn lessons until they are hit hard. And you will learn your lesson when that happens. Your brother is very successful now since you had your injury. And I don't know if you're medicating yourself by drinking more from this injury. I don't know, but you need help. Let your brother shine, because he has been shining so much without you, which therefore he does not need you to be a star. He can be a bigger star without you holding him back. I don't know if that's what it could be. A number of things that are building up to make him do these things. We don't know, because we're not in the circle with them. However, little things can be shown and see how people react. And since he's been back, you can see little things like you're playing a character, but that can be also turned into real life. And right now, you need to have a seat, and you need to sit back for a little bit. You need to sit back maybe for a while till you get your shit together, because this is what, number 4? This is number 4 for you. Some people only just need one time. You, sir, apparently this is your regular deal. 30 and 50 is not that fast. However, for Miami, wherever you're at, the highways are the streets are very, very long. It's not like the city. So for what you were doing, and you had a couple of beers, okay. Then you need to be driving very slow to get home if you want to get behind the wheel. Not saying that
he was driving 50 in the 35.
Correct. So therefore, sir, you need to sit down. You should be fired. I'm sorry. Let them continue the storyline, because they really didn't need you to come back in first place.
Yeah.
We didn't need you. But we had to throw you in there because now you're back and now you're ready to work or blah, blah, blah. No, you're not. You need to go sit down. You need to, and I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his wife, who's being held back as well. Could be because of him. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Number of things. The guilty by association. You have a whole family of people that work there. I'm sure WWE will pay and they will send you to get help.
Is it possible to both agree and disagree at the same time? Like, I definitely agree that he needs to suffer consequences. Mm-hmm. But if the WWE goes the route of firing him, we're in the industry of the wrestling business. Mm-hmm. He's gonna have a job waiting for him as soon as his 90-day contractual obligation is up, which means he won't get the help that he needs. So he needs to be grounded, because it's basically, if he gets fired, he's gonna now have a chip on his shoulder. And then there isn't a company in the industry that would not take him.
That's true.
Every single company would literally line up to sign this man.
You're right.
Because of what they would do with him when he enters that building, the buzz would be phenomenal.
Yeah, the pop would be crazy. You're absolutely right.
In turn, he's not getting the help that he needs.
You're right.
So that's what I mean. That's the only way I say I kind of agree and disagree, because I think they need to just ground him and literally he is a part of the WWE family, essentially.
Okay, so let's suspend him without pay. Let's get
his ass. Yes, exactly. Hold
you
him
need
down.
to be suspended. No pay.
Exactly.
Lock you down because until you get
him within your walls.
Yeah.
He needs to get punished within the company, but don't let him loose. Because if he gets let loose, boy, oh fucking boy, the fire will get started on his bidding war.
You're right. I never thought about it that way, and that is absolutely 100% correct.
Too prestigious.
The name of
anybody. Yeah, exactly.
The name. It's the name. The name.
Uso in another company.
This is very true. You're absolutely right. Us? Who? Me? Us?
He wouldn't be Uso. He would probably go Jonathan Fatu.
He would be
which
Fatu.
is his father's last name.
He would be Fatu, but Fatu is one of the most known names in the wrestling industry anyway. So that man shows face.
Yeah, and there's another brother out there, so he can just get back into a different tag team. Honestly, there's Seki Fatu's out there, so
he's in a performance center getting whatever. Yeah. So let's.
I kind of agree with the both of y'all. I do agree with Top Guy JJ. I think he needs to be suspended, forced to go to rehab. I have a level of sympathy for him because I do know people that have dealt with addiction, and it's hard. And I'm not just putting it on him. I'm putting it on WWE as well as the people around him because he does have so much family with him. Exactly. They need to urge him to get the help that he truly needs, because the consequences this time was an arrest. Next time it can be you are taking a father or a mother away from their child. So there
he hasn't done any jail time either, so you can go to jail. You want to go to jail, friend?
He needs to hear the harsh potential outcomes of what he's doing.
Yeah,
like he is living dangerous territory right now. Like you should not be having kids lose their fathers unintentionally. Like with some reckless behavior like this. You shouldn't be having a woman lose a husband basically off of something that he can control. He can control this. So that I'm 100% in agreement here. Like he needs the help. He needs to get help. This is too many times.
Yes.
According to Andrew Zarian of the McMahon podcast, Stephanie McMahon is set for a meeting with an unnamed TV network this month to discuss the failing ratings for WWE for both Raw and SmackDown over last week and the last couple of weeks, and potential ideas on how to turn them around. Zarian said on the McMahon podcast, and I quote, "I don't know which network it was, but somebody told me that Steph has a meeting with one of the networks at the end of the month for pitched ideas from the network. I don't know if this is a common thing that they do or if this is a regular thing, but I know that the networks are pitching ideas." This, of course, comes off the heels of Raw's record low ratings of 1.472 million viewers that we mentioned earlier in the show, and it also comes off the heels of a couple of weeks ago where it was reported that the TV networks Fox and USA have been pitching ideas for themed episodes of Raw and SmackDown with the King of the Ring, Cyber Sunday, and NASCAR and NFL themed episodes for the shows. With SmackDown debuted on Fox, it was reported that the network had a goal of around 3 million viewers a week, but last week's episode of SmackDown was viewed by fewer than 2 million on average. The TV networks hope that wrestling can see a reboot of sorts with the return of live fans in attendance starting on the July 16th SmackDown, followed by the July 19th Monday Night Raw. So it should be very interesting to see what comes as a result of this quote-unquote crisis meeting between Stephanie McMahon and the TV networks. We will keep you updated on this story on Tru Heel Heat next week. It seemed like there was bad news for WWE as it was reported by Variety that John Cena will be featured in a new film called Argyle that is set to film starting in August. The film will feature Catherine O'Hara as well as Samuel L. Jackson, and the date that it was supposed to start seemed to conflict with John Cena appearing at SummerSlam, but it was later reported by Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Cena will be at SummerSlam as the main event matchup between John Cena and Universal Champion Roman Reigns has been quote-unquote locked in. We will keep you updated on further news involving John Cena and his status for SummerSlam in the weeks to come before the big event in Las Vegas, Nevada. In more news concerning WWE SummerSlam, it seems that Brock Lesnar will not be returning for the huge event in Las Vegas, Nevada, according to a new report. According to Andrew Zarian of the Madman podcast, plans to have Lesnar return at SummerSlam didn't pan out due to creative differences. WWE is still working on a deal for Lesnar to return, and while Lesnar is not needed, if he did tell WWE that he wanted to work SummerSlam, they would probably figure out a way to do it. As of now, that isn't the plan, though. The company wants Lesnar to commit to doing live shows as part of a potential deal. Of course, we haven't seen Brock Lesnar since WrestleMania 36 when he lost the WWE Championship to Drew McIntyre. Paul Heyman has also been speculating and got fans talking about a possible Lesnar return with a change to his Facebook profile as of recently, but we will see if Brock Lesnar will return for SummerSlam. It's been speculated that he could face the likes of Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship or Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. As always, we will keep you updated right here on Tru Heel Heat. In the saddest news of the week, Bayley will be out of action for 9 months. The WWE superstar was announced as being injured and will be replaced at Money in the Bank on WWE's social media platforms. Reportedly from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, Bayley suffered a freak accident injury while training for the Back to the Road sessions at the Performance Center when she was exchanging chain wrestling with a fellow superstar. It seems to be an ACL injury as reported by PW Insider, and the superstar will be out for 9 months. This is definitely sad news for all wrestling fans, as Bayley has been obviously one of the MVPs of the entire pandemic era and was about to be right in front of fans for the first time in well over 16 months. We send our best, our thoughts, and prayers to Bayley, hoping that she has a speedy recovery. Bayley has had a hell of a year as the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, as well as WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, and was involved in one of the best feuds of the entire pandemic era with Sasha Banks. Bayley was then left off the card at WrestleMania, but has been featured prominently on the SmackDown roster in a feud with SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair, with a blow-off scheduled for Money in the Bank in an I Quit match. This week's SmackDown will have the announcement of a replacement for Bayley, with WrestleVotes speculating that the superstar will come from the NXT roster. We send our best to Bayley, and we hope that she comes back very, very soon. And most of all, we hope WWE realizes the talent that they have on her hands and know that the fans are going to welcome her back with a very warm reception upon her return. On a noteworthy SmackDown, the final SmackDown inside of the Thunderdome, it was a lot of breaking news as not one, not two, but 3 NXT call-ups were either teased or debuted. You had Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart debut on the SmackDown roster against Tamina and Natalya, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, getting a victory over those two ladies. You also had a vignette teasing the debut of Toni Storm to the SmackDown roster. You also had Carmella replacing Bayley in a matchup against Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which was taken off of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and placed on next week's SmackDown in Houston, Texas. A newsworthy show for sure. Also, Jimmy Uso appeared on the show and seems to be still in the top storyline. So we will have more talking about SmackDown next week on Tru Heel Heat.
We gotta move on to more WWE news. WWE has announced that July 23rd episode of Friday Night SmackDown will be held at the Rolling Loud Miami 2021 Festival. This is a rap festival which where WWE superstars will be gracing the same stage as festival headliners Travis Scott, Post Malone, and A$AP Rocky. WWE superstars will compete in matches live from the Rolling Loud Miami, and the July 23rd edition of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox will feature a split spite broadcast with multiple matches at the festival and the remainder of the evening held at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. Ahead of her NXT return, PW Insider reports that Tegan Knox, who had been out of action with a torn ACL since last fall, worked a dark match with Toni Storm before Monday Night Raw. PW Insider also reports that Karrion Kross and Drew Gulak worked a dark match before the last edition of Monday Night Raw, and the match is not appearing on WWE Main Event this week, and it was not reported who won the match. WWE was also interested in signing Moose before he ultimately re-signed with Impact Wrestling, according to a report.
Thank God. Thank God, Moose. I'm sorry to interrupt. Thank God.
According to Fightful Select, sources in NXT indicated there was interest from WWE in bringing the Impact star in as his contract came close to coming up, but there was hope that they could sign him and bring him straight to the main roster. However, Impact made a big play to get him signed before WWE could negotiate with him, and there was no actual offer made. Moose reportedly re-upped with Impact just last month. In an interview with Fightful, Adam Cole has spoke about his reaction to the release of Tyler Breeze from WWE, which he said was upsetting, but that Breeze would be fine. He referred to Breeze as Adam Coleman, a joke Breeze made during a recent stream in which he said he would use the name and the finisher Panama Sunset, in a funny with them being a part of the party on the Up Up Down Down YouTube channel. A new report has an update on Chad Gable's current contract with WWE. Fightful Select checked into the matter due to some hefty speculation about when Gable's contract would be up after Dax Harwood suggested in a post on Twitter back in March that Gable could be available in May or so. Fightful notes that the tweet was absolutely done as a joke, and Gable's contract with WWE still has a lot of time left on it. The site notes that several AEW talent members have told them that if Gable became available, they would push to get him into the company. According to a post on his Instagram account, former WWE talent Jack Gallagher indicated that there were plans at one point to have WWE Cruiserweight Tag Team titles that would have been featured on 205 Live. However, those plans never came to fruition.
Oh, thank God.
Jack Gallagher was released by WWE last year due to allegations that surfaced during the Speaking Out movement. WWE has announced for next week's Raw the following matches: WWE United States Championship match, Sheamus versus Alberto Carrillo; Falls Count Anywhere match, John Morrison versus Ricochet; Eric versus Omos in his singles debut; and AJ Styles versus Ivar. They have also announced a tag team championship.
Titles off them, please.
Yo,
they have also announced
just gets uninteresting about a week, bro.
They have also announced tag team championship match for Raw in 2 weeks when they are live in front of a live audience for the first time, and it will be Omos and AJ Styles defending the titles against the Viking Raiders. AEW news.
That's the best they got.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Take the titles off of them. They don't need.
We just saw a fucking epic. I hate them.
AEW news. A new report has an update on how ticket sales are going for AEW's upcoming shows. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, the following amount of tickets have been sold for the upcoming shows through August 11th. Road Rager had about 3,000 tickets sold in a 3,700 seat arena. That should be updated on this week's newsletter. AEW Fighter Fest Night 1 have sold 4,350 sold, 97 shy of capacity. AEW Fighter Fest Night 2 has 4,200 sold. AEW Fight for the Fallen on July 28th in Charlotte, North Carolina has 4,300 sold. AEW Dynamite August 11th in Pittsburgh has 3,500 sold. And AEW Rampage on August 13th in Pittsburgh has 3,200 sold. Brian,
I'm sorry. How many they have on Dynamite? How many? What that arena? How many people?
that arena had 3,700 capacity. So
Wow.
they did sold over 3,000, but it should be updated the final number in the newsletter this week.
Hmm.
Brian Cage has seen the poster for AEW Fyter Fest Night 1, and he's not pleased by it because he was left off. Cage is set to defend the FTW Championship against Ricky Starks on that edition of Dynamite, and notice that his match is the only was the only one not showed on the poster. He said on Twitter, at Starkman Jones versus Cage, only match announced at that point when he tweeted, and can't get on the poster after selling out. Ricky Stark's hometown and Austin is the wrestling tent that I built, hashtag wrestling circus. So a little bit of frustration from Brian Cage there. AEW is said to be looking at a return to Chicago following All Out Weekend for this year's Thanksgiving week event. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the company is tentatively planning for a show in the Wintrust Arena in Chicago on November 24th. In an interview with my good friends over at Sportskeeda Wrestling, Killian Dane admitted that NXT wrestlers watched matches from AEW Dynamite backstage during episodes when they went head-to-head with the show. He said, I think people would love for me to say it was this rivalry or whatever else, but the truth is, when we were going head to head, if they had a particularly good match, we'd want to watch it. We'd watch. You know what I mean? We'd be backstage in the locker room and we'll be like, oh, such and such, let's see that. A lot of them are our friends, as is with a lot of the guys on that roster. AEW announced the full lineup for next week's Fyter Fest Night 1 in Austin, Texas. You're going to see IWGP United States Champion Jon Moxley make his return to AEW versus Carl Anderson. FTW Championship on the line as Brian Cage defends against Ricky Starks. You're going to see the coffin match between Darby Allin and Ethan Page. Penelope Ford versus the returning Yuka Sakazaki. Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. And Hangman Page will finally speak about the ongoing drama with him and Kenny Omega. What are you most looking forward to on Fyter Fest Night 1, Top Guy JJ?
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that Jon Moxley and Carl Anderson match. So, I mean, that you don't get to see mix-ups like that very often. So when you finally get a match of that proportion, that's for the IWGP United States Championship, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I'm definitely looking forward to that. Overall, sounds like a very solid card. This is the shit I'm talking about. Like, they got a show that they've been planning for a while now. This is kind of like mini pay-per-view style, but they're catering to how they're attempting to sell tickets to the audience. Like, they're not just saying Raw is coming to your town and just buy my ticket.
Yep.
Like, they promoted a fucking tag match as their only thing that they have, and then you got a fucking card for Fyter Fest coming up, an entire card, and this card sounds awesome. Like, thank God that they're blowing this fucking Christian and Matthew Hardy shit off on Fyter Fest. I hope that this is like the blow off match, because I hope this is it, because I've had zero interest in this from the start. No interest. I feel like this is nothing but a hold down for Christian Cage. This is way beneath what Christian Cage should be doing right now. But overall, I'm definitely looking forward to the card. But definitely that Mox and Carl Anderson match. I love that Carl Anderson promoting that match.
He did a good job promoting that matchup. New Japan news. New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced the dates for the 31st annual New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax Tournament. Chrissy's favorite time of the year. It will run from September 18th through October.
We had that Usher song queued up.
September 18th through October 21st. It was pushed back to the fall due to the Olympics in Tokyo. The final events
that makes sense now. Okay. Yes, because the Olympics starts in like 2 weeks. Right.
Final events will be October 18th at Yokohama Budokan, October 20th in Sumo Hall, and October 21st in Sumo Hall. Also, tickets went on sale this week for New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence in Los Angeles, California. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that the New Japan Pro Wrestling has already sold an estimate of 1,400 tickets for the event, which is reportedly slated for 2,200 seat setup. So they do have a little bit of time to sell out that event.
New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Grand Slam show could be postponed yet again, as Japan has declared a state of emergency due to a rise of COVID-19 infections. CNBC reports that Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga declared a new state of emergency in the hopes that it will stave off the rising wave of infections, which will run from July 12th through August 22nd. The state of emergency comes as the Olympics are set to begin on July 23rd and a new rise in infections. New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Grand Slam is scheduled for the Tokyo Dome for July 25th and is set to be headlined by Shingo Takagi defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Kota Ibushi. New Japan Pro Wrestling has yet to comment on the status of Wrestle Grand Slam, but this could put the entire event in flux and up in the air yet again. As always, we will keep you updated right here on Tru Heel Heat.
Impact Wrestling news, Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics reports that Thursday's episode of Impact Wrestling, last Thursday, drew 69,000 viewers, which is the lowest number the show has ever pulled in on Access TV. It was also down by 9,000 from the previous record low, September 8th, 2020, and down from last week's 111,000 viewers. The show had a .02 a rating in the adults 18 to 49 demo. It was also reported that there was a problem with the TV guide that didn't have it updated as Impact Wrestling, so some people that would have get alerted that the show was on weren't alerted that it was on. But the least viewed quarter hour was for the broadcast was the Final One, which was the main event of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Moose, Chris Sabin, and Sami Callihan, which was only watched by 59,000 people. So for all the Kenny Omega haters, here's your thing to go on and drag out for probably a week or so.
I love the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers, shout out to them. They are having the hot. When John Moxley left, it's the Good Brothers that's having the hot girl summer now. Yep, for sure.
Might be Malakai Black now.
It might be Malakai Black now, but for right now, I think it's the Good Brothers, because the Good Brothers is at 2 locations. Not 1, but 2.
Going on 3. They're going to be on New Japan on July 16th.
Yes. He's supposed to. Yep, that is correct. He did a promo for that. Yes, last night. You're right.
The final note for our news, Homicide made his return to the National Wrestling Alliance on this week's edition of Power. We're going to go through the cards real quick for ROH Best in the World 2020, as well as New Japan Summer Struggle Night 1 and 2. Best in the World, we're only going to do predictions for their top 3 matches here, but they're also going to see on the card the Demonic Flamita versus Ray Horus, a battle of former tag team partners. You're going to see Danhausen and PCO versus the Bouncers. The Briscoes, after their fight at the farm where they went one-on-one against each other, will team up again to verse PJ Black and Brian Johnson in a big grudge match. You're going to see EC3 versus Flip Gordon. Last man standing match, you're going to see Josh Woods versus his former mentor Silas Young. ROH World Tag Team Championships are on the line. Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus will defend against Chris Dickinson and Homicide of Violence Unlimited. ROH 6-man Tag Team Championships are on the line. Shane Taylor Promotions will defend against Dalton Castle, Dak Draper, and Eli Isom. ROH Pure Championship will be on the line. Jonathan Gresham will defend against Mike Bennett. And in our match we're going to predict here, it's going to be another grudge match. It's going to be Jay Lethal going one-on-one with Brody King. This is all a part of the rivalry between the foundation of that Jay Lethal is a part of versus Violence Unlimited, with Brody King being the leader. So who wins this one? Lethal versus King. Let's start with you, Krssi Love.
Lethal for the win.
Top guy JJ.
I'm gonna go with Jay Lethal, man. That's our guy, man. That's our friend. Gotta go with our friend.
I like Jay Lethal, but you know me, guys. I go with my head over my heart. So I'm going to go with Brody King in this one. They got to push Violence Unlimited. They're the new faction. ROH Television Championship is on the line as another member of Violence Unlimited, Tony Deppen, will defend the title against LFI's own Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee lost the title because he wasn't able to travel for the anniversary show a couple of months back. He had Kenny King defend the title for him. Kenny King lost the title to Tracy Williams. And then on a recent episode of ROH TV, Tony Deppen defeated Tracy Williams to become the ROH Television Champion. Tony Deppen then defended the title in a three-way against Dragon Lee and Tracy Williams, but it was Tracy Williams who took the fall. So Dragon Lee gets his shot, his one-on-one shot here. Who wins? Tony Deppen versus Dragon Lee. Top guy, JJ.
Oh, Dragon Lee, man. Listen, man. ROH, you already know my interest level in ROH. But Dragon Lee, I love me some Dragon Lee, so I'm definitely going Dragon Lee.
I'm going to go with Tony Deppen to successfully defend. I think they're going to give the push to Violence Unlimited. Who you got in this one? Tony Deppen or Dragon Lee? Krssi Love.
Tony Deppen, gonna win.
So 2 for Tony Deppen. And then in the main event, it's going to be Rush defending the ROH World Championship against the winner of the 2021 Survival of the Fittest, Bandito. 2 of Mexican's finest going one-on-one. The 2 best, I think, Mexican performers that arguably, along with Dragon Lee, that ROH has. So who do you think wins this one? Rush versus Bandito. I will start it off, and I will say new ROH World Champion Bandito. I think they're going to go all the way and give Bandito the title because I don't think Rush is going to be long for ROH, and they need a big result because this is going to be their first event with fans in attendance. So Krssi Love, who you got, Rush or Bandito?
I'm going to go with Rush for the win.
Who you got, top guy?
I mean, Bandito is definitely one of my favorites. So I wouldn't mind seeing an ROH title change hands here. You know, maybe it might spark a quarter piece of interest back to me for ROH. ROH can still suck some balls. Jesus, we would like to get some interviews from ROH, and you know they don't like us. Can't help where they work.
This guy. New Japan Pro Wrestling Summer Struggle Night 1. We're only going to do predictions for the main event. You're going to see Kota Ibushi and Master Wato versus Yota Tsuji and Yura Uemura, though. You're also going to see Ishii and Yo versus Evil and Dick Togo. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Taguchi, and Rocky Romero will versus the Bullet Club's Kenta, Yujiro Takahashi, and El Phantasmo. Kazuka Okada and Sho of Roppongi 3K will verse the United Empire's own Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan. You're also going to see LIJ's IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Shingo Takagi team with Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi to verse Suzuki-gun's Taishi, Zack Sabre Jr., Yoshimaru Kanemaru, and Dookie. But in the main event, it's going to be for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. El Desperado will defend against Taiji Ishimori. El Desperado has been the champion for the last couple of months, ever since Hiromu Takahashi went down with the injury. But of course, Taiji Ishimori was the former champion that Hiromu beat for the title back at Wrestle Kingdom. So who wins here? El Desperado versus Ishimori. Top guy JJ.
It's a good match, actually. It's be a good match. I'm gonna go Ishimori. I'm gonna go with Ishimori.
New champion.
New champion.
Ishimori.
To the Bullet Club. Krssi Love, who you got?
Oh, he is in the Bullet Club. Dang.
Sure is.
That changes my answer now because I was going to go, and still remains champion. So I'm going to say new champion now.
I'm going to go the opposite way and say still champion, El Desperado. I think he's going to hold on to the title until Hiromu is healthy. Summer
when
Struggle.
the hell is that going to be?
I hope soon. Summer Struggle in Sapporo, night 2. We're only going to do predictions for the main event, but you're also going to see Sho and Uramoro versus El Desperado and Kanemaru. You're going to see Ishii, Taguchi, and Rocky Romero versus the Bullet Club's Evil, Tachi Ishimori, and El Phantasmo. You're going to see Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tsuji versus the Bullet Club's Kenta and Yujiro Takahashi. Okada and Yo of Roppongi 3K versus the United Empire's Jeff Cobb and Great Khan. Kota Ibushi and Master Wato will versus the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Shingo Takagi and Bushi. And in the main event for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, you're going to see Dangerous Tekkers Taishi and Zack Sabre Jr. defend against LIJ's own Tetsuya Naito and Sanada. It was Naito and Sanada and Bushi who beat Dangerous Tekkers and Dookie in a 6-man tag team matchup back at Dominion to set up this match. And I think it is the time for new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. I think Naito and Sanada win the titles here. What do you got in this one, Miss Krssi Love?
I'm going to agree with you and say Naito and Sanada.
Naito and Sanada, new champions. Top guy, JJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I love that. I love the idea of this tag team here. So let's pull a plug here. Let's see where this goes. We're going clean sweep here.
Clean sweep for Naito and Sanada. So 3 huge events coming up this weekend. Best in the World ROH has fans return for the first time in Baltimore, Maryland. We're gonna have the guys Ness and Stat King. They're gonna do a review on Best in the World. So check that out on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, as well as they'll be covering the return of fans in attendance for Major League Wrestling MLW. So that should be a very, very good one as well. As well as, like I said, New Japan Pro Wrestling Summer Struggle Night 1 and 2. So 4 huge events, fans in attendance for ROH and MLW. So should be a packed weekend for sure. But we're going to end things off with a special top 5 matches of the half year point. 6 months are in the books in 2021. 6 months to go. We have met the halfway point. So 2021 so far across all the promotions that we cover here on Tru Heel Heat. Each of the hosts here will give their top 5 matches of 2021 so far. I always like to say ladies first, so let's go over to Miss Krssi Love. What are your top 5 matches of 2021 so far?
Okay, so far there has been a lot. I couldn't remember, so I don't have any honorable mentions this time, but I will piggyback if you guys have the honorable mentions and tag them and take them from you. But for now,
I got about 3, so yeah, you can tag along, boo. I got you.
Okay, great. Since we had to do this on the fly, my number 5, I am going to pick Bayley and Bianca in their Hell in a Cell. I think the girls delivered. I think they opened the show. They set it the trend for the show. Even though the show was trash, they were most likely the best part of the show. Friends in the chat, you can all agree with me. If you don't, it's okay. That's fine.
Let us know in the comment section below or in the live chat
your top 5 too.
Your top 5 matches of 2021 so far, or who you thought had the best list. But continue on, Miss Krssi Love.
So number 4, I'm going to have to go with another women's match. I think they set the bar very, very high for women, which is Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. I mean, they were given a task to close out the show, which was the first time happening for AEW, and boy, did they deliver. I mean, chills. I'm thinking about it right now. Such a good match. You can go back and put it up there with other good matches that men have had, that these women have been elevated to now another level. We have come so far that we can do anything, and I think this match can tell you that in a beautiful story. Number 3, I have another AEW, which was Mox and Kingston versus the Bucks. I thought that was a great match, a great tag match. Makes me can't stand the Young Bucks even more with their foolish outfits and their fuckery, but it makes them as great heels, and I am here for all of it. Number 2, I did another curve there. I did Volta and Ciampa. I thought that was a really good match. makes me like Volta even more. I love me some Ciampa, and I think that match, which was thrown together, of course, but they delivered a great match, and that was back in April. I want to say.
Stand and deliver.
Yeah, you go, friend. And my last match, which is my number one for so far for the year, I'm gonna go Jay White and my Boo Ibushi. You know, I love me some Ibushi. So that was at Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. And SP made me watch that match, and it was amazing.
Look at Krssi knowing where these events are.
I know. She specified Wrestle Kingdom Night.
Look at Night 2.
See, I had to do my homework though, but it was good though. Okay,
but she knows her shit.
Thank you. But yeah, you know, I love me some Ibushi, and who doesn't love Jay White? I mean, sexy as fuck. Anywho, you know, I look at the sexiness. I don't, you know, look at the matches. Sometimes I do, but yeah.
This was not only the best match. This was the sexiest
post show. One of the greatest post show promos of all time.
There you go. Whoever's next, the floor is yours. But that's my top 5. Thanks, guys.
Take it over to top guys. I thought that was very well done by Miss Krssi. I love number 1 for sure. And I do have 2 of the matches you gave, so we're on the same wavelength. Top guy JJ, take it away.
All right, so I very, very similar with one of the matches here, so I'm going to change mine, go a little curve just so I could throw them in there. So I'm going to turn my honorable mention to Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Like I mean, my God, like Goat Baker on a t-shirt. I mean, that was just, that was amazing. I'm also throwing the honorable mention out there to the Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix match. Like, oh my God! I thought Rey Fenix damn near killed himself in this match.
Yeah.
This was on Dynamite, by the way. But there's one more, but I don't want to keep going, so I'm gonna go number 5 for me was Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 37 main event night 1. Like that.
That's an honorable mention. I'll take. Yep.
There's no way that I was not going to leave these women out of this. Like they were going to be. I was honorable mentioning them, but I flipped them because of Thunder Rosa and Gold Baker. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave that for you, Boo Boo. So I'm going to go with Bianca and Sasha Banks at WrestleMania Night 1. Number 4 to me, this was a fucking clusterfuck barn burner. The Young Bucks versus Pac and Rey Fenix. Like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Probably one of the greatest tag matches I've seen. Probably the best I've seen in 2021, because now that 2020 is gone, now we can have another match that was one of the best. Number 3, I'm going to go with the triple threat WWE WrestleMania main event with Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Okay. One of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. Like, that is undeniable. Probably at the end, give it a couple of years, it will probably be in top 3. Number 2, I am going to go with Kota Ibushi and Jay White from Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. That match, I mean, my God, that match was insane. That match was insane, and it also came with one of the greatest post-wrestling match promos of all time, with Jay White throwing the tirade and blaming everybody but himself. Like, it was phenomenal. And number 1 to me, I might get some flack for this, but I don't give a fuck. I wanted to have different wrestlers in every single match. This one to me is Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. This to me, I've been wanting to see like these two rehash them at their lightning moments for a couple of years, and I got it, and I got everything that I wanted in this match. I got my guy Okada finally suffering some defeat. and Will Ospreay was on fucking fire until unfortunate title droppings and
you're talking about Wrestle Kingdom?
Sorry, Okada and Ospreay?
Yeah, from Wrestle Kingdom, right?
Yes.
Okada won.
No, I'm talking about the one that Ospreay won.
They didn't verse again. Remember, that got rescheduled because Ospreay got injured.
Because Ospreay got injured. I apologize. But
You get the gist.
yeah, but you kind of get where I'm going. So that was definitely my favorite between these guys. Where I'm in love with Will Ospreay. If anybody obviously doesn't know this already, Will Ospreay is definitely one of my absolute favorite wrestlers of all time. And then with what happened with him and his girlfriend and all of that shit, and taking away so much steam from his excellent matches, and then giving him the American Dream Nightmare Championship belt from New Japan. It kind of dilutes some of these things.
What is wrong with you?
But at the end of the day, like, I mean, I could go either 2 or 1 with one of those 2 matches, but obviously my 2 favorite matches of the year did come from the New Japan side.
I do agree with that. I got 3 honorable mentions. I also have one of my honorable mentions has to be the first ever African American people in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 with Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. I think they did an amazing job there. Another honorable mention is, again, with the women, is one I saw recently from Stardom, Cinderella, Tokyo Dream, Shuri versus Utami, one of the most hard-hitting women's matches that I've ever seen in my lifetime. One of the most hard-hitting matches, period, that I've seen in my lifetime. That was beautiful. That was tremendous. Worth going out of your way to watch. If you're not big into Stardom, you should be after watching that matchup. And JJ's number 1 is my last honorable mention, Ospreay versus Okada from Wrestle Kingdom Night 1. I think they had the match of Night 1. Not the match overall of Wrestle Kingdom weekend, but definitely a very, very, very close second. I could have named Ospreay versus Shingo in the New Japan Cup Finals. I could have named Jeff Cobb and Shingo from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I also 5-6 bangers on that card.
I also agree. In my honorable mentions, I also got to mention Young Bucks versus Pac and Ray Phoenix, which I thought was the best tag team match of the year. But all of my matches were singles matches. Coming in at number 5 is Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix from AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash Night 1. Some of the best, most exciting sequences.
So I'm not lying. My shit is right there. It's right there.
Some of the best, most exciting sequences that I've seen all year. I will replay for years to come. Kenny Omega hitting the V trigger, Ray Phoenix bouncing up, kipping up, and then super kicking him. That was one of the my jaw was on the floor watching this entire matchup. The moonsault into the German suplex, the double stomp to the back, just so much great spots in this one. That was tremendous. Worth the 5-star rating. Another 5-star rated matchup in my book, coming in at number 4, Shingo Takagi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from New Beginning in Sapporo for the Never Openweight Championship. This was when I was like, Shingo could have the hard-hitting banger type matchup with Jeff Cobb, but I didn't think he can have the 35, 40-minute epics in the main event, and he proved that here against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Just so emotional, so much drama, just a great matchup, and really showed me that Shingo could stand up to any main eventer in New Japan. Coming in at number 3, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam. My God, the epitome of women's wrestling, in my opinion. This was the first ever women's main event in AEW history. This was the first ever women's lights out unsanctioned match, and it was the first ever unsanctioned matchup in Dynamite history. And I gave it number 1. My article is up on Sportskeeda Wrestling, my top 10 best AEW Dynamite matches of 2021 so far. This got the number 1 spot. I would say Omega and Phoenix was better worked, but this one told a better story and meant a lot more overall to women's wrestling. So I had to give it the crown there. Coming in at number 2, Kota Ibushi versus Switchblade Jay White from Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2. My God, 47 minutes. I have never been that enthralled, that engaged to a wrestling match and seen the up and downs, the ebbs and flows of a wrestling match. Jay White put on the performance of a lifetime, one of the best heel work that I've ever seen in a long form main event matchup, and Kota Ibushi proved himself to be the god of pro wrestling in this matchup, so I had to give it the crown there. But number one is, in my eyes, the new version of Okada and Omega, the epic series of matches that will never get old. Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi from Wrestling Dontaku, the 40-minute IWGP World Heavyweight Championship matchup. I did not think these two guys could outdo their match of the year from 2019 in the Best of the Super Juniors, but they did here. This was amazing. Worth the 6-star rating that Uncle Dave Meltzer graced it. One of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. Will Ospreay proving that he is one of the best wrestlers in the world and possibly maybe of all time, because he can do it all. He can high fly, he can be hard hitting, he can have the dramatic matches, have the storytelling matches, have the drama. And Shingo Takagi, once again, proving why he deserved to be the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know what the next 6 months of this year has to do to eclipse this match as my match of the year, but I don't know if anybody's going to pass Shingo versus Ospreay from Wrestling Dontaku. Like I said at the beginning of this segment, let us know in the comment section below, or if you're watching our premiere in the live chat, your top 5 matches of 2021 so far. It has been an amazing first 6 months of the wrestling year for 2021. All of our matches are worthy of your praise, so let us know what you thought was the best of the best. But that gives us to a close on this edition of Tru Heel Heat. I want to thank Miss Krssi Love and Top Guy JJ, as always, for their excellent analysis. Miss Krssi Love, where can they find you on social media?
I am the sensationalist Krssi Love. You can find me every week with my good brothers here on our podcast, Tru Heel Heat. You can find me on IG, Twitter, and on Facebook. It is Krssi Love _ or just Miss Krssi Love, or just plain Crystal Lynch.
And Top Guy JJ?
On Instagram, you can find me at Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ. On the YouTube channel, you can find me weekly with these two lovely people here on the Tru Heel Heat podcast. I am going to say my store opens on August 6th, so there might be a little absences for me. So just giving some future notices here, because we got some big weeks coming up, and I cannot accept anything other than perfection. But you guys have been flat out awesome, and them nails, girl, are everything.
Thank you.
Nails are I'm like, yeah, this is popping.
Of course, check out the lineup on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. NX3 is up, their review of the Great American Bash, as well as the fellas did a live edition of Rated Raw Superstars this week for Monday Night Raw. We also got Dark Power that's up right now. You're going to see AE Recap with myself, with Jimmy Macaram and Marcus Cash, reviewing AEW Dynamite Road Rager. You can also find me for all my material, all the stuff I'm doing, on Twitter at Tru Heel SP3. I was featured on the Kings of Sports podcast reviewing the NBA Finals this week, so check that out. That's up on my Twitter page. You also got me on Wrestling Daily with Alex McCarthy, where we debated the best and worst NXT call-ups, as well as talked about Roderick Strong's push on NXT. You can see me on Powered 4 SP3 with John Scott, as well as Sportskeeda Wrestling with Rick Ucchino and Dutch Mantel reviewing SmackDown on Smack Talk. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Subscribe to all of our friends, Jimmy Macaram, Wrestling Travel, Wrestling Daily, who just hit 12K subscribers and help push Tru Heel Heat to our next goal of 2,000 subscribers. We want to hit that before the end of the year. So if you are new, push that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified, drop a thumbs up on this video, comment down below and let us know what you thought about this week's podcast. If you're listening to us on all your favorite podcast platforms, make us one of your favorites and drop us a review so you can get shout out on the next edition of Tru Heel Heat. And of course, you can see Tru Heel Heat on Powered 4 TV. So for Miss Krssi Love, for Top Guy JJ, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 133. Until Tru Heel Heat 134 live next Saturday, we are signing off until next Saturday.